You're watching or listening to The Looking Forward Show on PhillyCam, WPPN LP, Philadelphia, 106.5 FM, or PhillyCam TV. You can also see us live streaming on Xfinity 66 and 966, on Bios TV 2930, on Roku, Apple TV, and Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel. And now, here's your host, Jeffrey Abramowitz. We are live. There you go. We are live. You can watch us live streaming at Xfinity 66 966 on Vios TV 29 and 30 on Roku, Apple TV, YouTube channel. So I'm grateful to be here today, and we have an awesome show. I want to start off by introducing and bringing on our co-host today, Jacques King.
Hello again. It's great to be back for the third time.
There you go, Jean. We got you. How are you, bud? Happy, healthy holidays.
Happy, healthy holidays to you too, Jeff. I am great. How are you doing?
Good. It's good to see you, man. We had a great show last week, and looking forward to ending up the year with another great show. We're can't believe it's December already. We ran through the whole season, and we had so many great guests. We're going to do a recap today and talk about some of the wonderful guests that we had on the show from the beginning. Just a quick check-in. First of all, how are things going, and how you been doing?
I'm great. Everything is looking up for me. You know, the show's getting better. My life is getting better. And as you can see, our lovely guests get to see me in a more intimate setting. We are not in the studio today. We are home. My bed.
I love it.
The multiple posters and cartoons behind me. So, yeah, you get a little more insight on who I am. I just woke up this morning, but trust me, I've been up, but I'm working at home today, so we're good. Everything is okay.
Oh, I love it. We're gonna catch up with you. I know that you've had a busy week too. I understand Mural Arts had another graduating class recently.
Yes, we did. This is my second time graduating from the program, and since then, since my first time, I have literally had this radio show. I have gotten better at my craft, and you know, everything has just been falling into place more than ever now. It's like I got the hang of everything, so I'm start and just keep going.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, so I think you've had 2-3 shows under your belt with us, and you're going to be in 2023. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Jacques King. We brought him on, and he's going to be a co-host. He's really going to be looking at some of the issues that involve young people in Philadelphia and around our country in the justice space, and being able to talk through some of those issues and bringing some of his guests and friends and colleagues and people that he'd like to highlight that are doing some great stuff in Philadelphia on the air. So looking forward to 2023 with you. I really am.
Yes, most definitely. We have a bunch of interesting and very special guests coming through. I know quite a few people. So I'll be bringing some familiar faces to the show, and I will bring in some very new faces to the show.
I know it. I love it. So Jaz already gave me his guest list for 2023, and I got to tell you, it's pretty impressive. If you nailed half of them, I got them on the show, I'd be really happy. But it's really it's great. Looking forward to some great stuff. In the last year, so many things have happened that I do want to share with you. A few things. One, before we even get into this, I got to give a shout out to my PhillyCam family, because so many people make the show happen and that are helping me navigate not only the soundboards and getting production going, but we went live stream during COVID, and it's been a challenge kind of getting all guests in line and making sure from a production end things go smoothly. So big shout out to Allison. Allison's our producer here at the WPPM at Philly Cam Radio, and she's here making sure that everything is really running smoothly from the radio end. And Debbie Rudman from Philly Cam TV makes sure we get our shows on time and they get out on the air. So thank you also to Roland and Gabe and everybody in our Philly Cam family. It does a great job. So big thank you to everybody there. I also got to give a shout out to some people that have been guests on our show for the last year, consistently showing up and sharing their insight. And one is a good friend of the show who is the District Director of Probation and Parole for the Department of Corrections in Pennsylvania, and that's Lou Narvaez. So Lou, if you're out there listening, special thanks to you and happy holidays to you and your family. Lou consistently is on our show sharing insights that are happening around Pennsylvania regarding probation and parole, and he calls it like he sees it. He's very honest with us, and he's also he's there to explain from a different perspective of what's really happening behind the scene when it talk about criminal justice. So Lou, thank you for your friendship, and look forward to great things in 2023 when you come back on. We had a Mural Arts show this year, and the work of Mural Arts, Jane Golden and all the staff down there, just a huge thank you. We did our last remote down there for Mural Arts, and we saw a whole class just come up, and they were just amazing. And we were able to, from their facility on Spring Garden Street, really showcase some of the great stories of the young men and women that are doing some absolutely awesome stuff in Philadelphia. And I actually got to see in the paper the other day one of the murals at Temple that was completed and launched, and they opened that mural up right under the train station there. So we're looking forward to continuing that relationship with Mural Arts and highlighting it. Ja?
Little fun fact about said mural, that is beautiful mural that's under the bridge on Cecil B. Moore. Shout out to the artist team who put a lot of work, and he literally went through hell and high water to get that mural under the bridge. And fun fact, that mural is actually not far from my house. I literally walked.
Oh, I think he froze on us. There you go.
Fun fact, the mural is not far from my house, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like within feet. So
it's beautiful. When they were working on it, I was actually driving by one day. It was a Saturday, and you had there probably with 20 people out there, and they were just cleaning up the neighborhood, and it was remarkable to see it. And spent some time actually watching the artist. He was explaining to me a little bit of the techniques that he was using under the bridge, and it's really it's amazing art. If you have a chance to go by, it's on Cecil B. Moore, and you should just drive down Cecil B. Moore right off Temple's campus and take a look at it. Really great project. So we are yeah, it's great stuff. We're going to do this. We're going to take a quick break. Then after that, we're going to be talking about 2022, and I want to go through and share with you some of the amazing guests that we had for 2022. And then after that, we have a really special guest that's going to be joining us today. So I'm really excited to have her come on, because she's pretty close to me, and I'm looking forward to her sharing a little bit about the holidays more. So, Zhao, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Looking Forward Show, or watching us on Philly Cam TV. And we'll be right back. We are back at the Looking Forward Show. You're listening or watching the Looking Forward Show at Philly Cam Radio, WPPM LP, Philadelphia 106.5 FM, and live streaming on Philly Cam TV, Xfinity 6696, Fios TV 2930, Roku, Apple TV, and you can even see us on our YouTube channel. Ja King is with me today. Ja, how you doing, bud? So looking back, you've only been on a few shows, but I want to go through and just and highlight what a remarkable year it's been at Philly Cam with our Looking Forward show. We kicked off the year in January with some wonderful friends that were able to share the work that they're doing, and we started off with Brandon Chaskowski at Edwin's in Cleveland. And if you're not familiar, you need to Google them. Edwin's in Cleveland is a 5-star restaurant that I had the privilege of going to, and it's all all operated by Brandon Cheskowski, but he hires men and women that are justice involved. And everyone that works in their stores all have an opportunity to find that career pathway in the culinary field. And I told a story during the show, which was most impactful to me, which was about having dessert there. And a young man came over, and it's a picture I show in a lot of the talks that I give. Excuse me. And he made Bananas Foster. And I have a great picture of him right after he made Bananas Foster. And first of all, it was the best Bananas Foster I've ever eaten in my life. But second was that the smile on his face is something that's like embedded in me. And it's this smile of just someone who looked like he had just won the Super Bowl. Like he had just scored the winning touchdown, and it was like success for him. And if I could get every single person that I work with to have that same feel, it was just so touching. And we also had on the same show Wayne Williams from the Food Trust, and they just did a wonderful job navigating and telling us all about food and justice and how important it is in the criminal justice world. We ended up right after that show, we had Mylena Sutton on from Voltage Vista, who does diversity, equity, and inclusion work around the country, and we had at the same show Danny Huffman on from Second Chance University, and he shared a little about the work that they were doing. In February was a packed month because we ended up the month with Rodney Bruton, who is the president of Orleans Technical College in Northeast Philly, and also Anson Green from Tyson Foods, and they really showed how important it was to get an education and to get that career credential built in. We didn't let up because we kicked off March with Getting Fit, and we had Will Little on, who talked to us all about mindfulness, and we just spent an entire show just navigating mindfulness and how important it is in the life that you do, in the life that you have. And it was he was a great guest, and Will's been a good friend of mine and is doing some good work in Philadelphia when it comes to really sharing the work of how important mindfulness is and artificial intelligence. Then the second show in March, we had Music Matters. So one of my good friends, Saul Paul from Austin, Texas, came on, and he really kicked it. He was able to play some songs for us. And if you're not familiar, he's a Grammy-nominated artist named Saul Paul, and just Google him, Saul Paul. And he came on and talked about the work that he's doing out in Austin and across the country. He is all over the place. And we had him on the same show with Maxie Mandel, who did a wonderful song that she wrote about Black Lives Matter. And she's a really budding artist who came in studio and was able to share a song that she did. And same show, we had Mazzy Kasher on, Mazzy and Stephen Pinkins and Blizzy Trill. All three were on from Philly Truce. So just packed. We kicked off April with John Ponder, Hope for Prisoners in Las Vegas, who was on, and Stephen Head, who's doing some great work at Muse Garden down in Atlantic City. So we kept rolling, man. We just couldn't stop, and it kept going on and on. Every month we seem to get these just great stories on of people sharing the work that they're doing. Some of the highlights for me were Coach Daryl Andrews was on, Coach D, and Coach D he is so motivating. He's a motivational speaker who I've seen do his work in national conferences, and he's been so awesome. He gets you going, and he just gets you targeted on the things that you should be focusing on, how to make change happen. And the same show, another good friend, Kimberly McClone, was on from Grant Boulevard. So if you're not familiar, Grant Boulevard is a nonprofit agency that actually does fashion design here in Philadelphia, and they have a bunch of pop-ups. And Kimberly McClone is just kicking it nationally. She's been doing some great work. So it continued on throughout the rest of the summer. We got into with Celeste Trusty, who is the Secretary of Department of Pardons, or Secretary of Pardons in Pennsylvania, was on, and she's been a good friend with Josh Gardner, who is now the advocacy chair of the Philadelphia Ranch Coalition, and then Shuja Moore, came on Walkies. So Walkies has been a passion. So if you're not familiar, Walkies is they're short videos that have been done by Shuja Moore, and Shuja is he's a returning citizen, has been highlighting this series called Walkies. And for those that don't know, Walkies are guys, men and women that walk around the track with you when you're incarcerated, and you share like your deepest thoughts with them, and they're your walkies, they're your buddies. So he's been doing this whole story about when you come home, taking people back to where those choices were made that got them into trouble, and having them share their perspective and their story and their journey. And Shuja is he's just completed, I think, his fourth walkies or third walkies, and they're just hot. If you have a chance, Google Shuja Moore. He's been doing some great work in the field. So and then we ended up with two of my favorite shows. Also, were one with Rashida Bagwell, Ja's mom was on. Here you go, and also Dewan Williams was Dewan. So there you go. And were you present? Were you at Mural Arts for that?
I was at Mural Arts when my mother and my boss Dewan came on. I will say, spoiler, we were trying to get Dewan on last week and this week, but he's been back and forth with No More North and South, and this week has been hectic. But we will get him here. We
will definitely get him on. We'll get your mom back on as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So just a few of the other guests before we move on. One was Brandon Ross, and Brandon is a young man who created these sweatshirts, and they say on them, this big logo, it says "Studying Never Stops." And I met him at a fair, it was actually a community fair in North Philadelphia, and said, "Man, we got to talk." And he was selling shirts and bracelets and all these cool things that all had embedded on them, "Studying Never Stops." And Brandon, I think he's 13 or 12 years old, and him and his mom are out there doing all this, and they were recently part of a project that I launched in Philly with a small business mentoring initiative, and they'll be doing their Shark Tank presentations to get some funding coming up in January. And then the last show you were there, Wisha, which was with Keith Baldwin. Yeah, if you don't know Keith is the owner of Spike's Trophies in Philadelphia, and Keith was on to talk about his book, A Year of Firsts. So he did this amazing project where for an entire year during COVID, he took every single day and he did something he had never done before. It was a year of first. So one night he was homeless. One night he wore a woman's high heel shoes. One night he played golf in a skirt, a hula skirt. Like, he did all these crazy things at first. He jumped out of an airplane. He did but every single day he did a different first, and he put it all in a book. And I read it and I laughed throughout the whole book. But it was really meaningful and sent a message of, life is so short. We really should try to do things we've never done before that can get us excited. And I guess COVID helped us refocus on some of that. And then last week we had Sharon Bonney on from the Coalition on Adult Education in Washington, and she was calling in from Florida, but she got to share with us the importance of adult education in our country and what's happening on that front. So I'm exhausted, Ja, but I have to tell you that I'm not too exhausted to stop the show right here, because our next and first guest and only guest today is going to be joining us in a banter the rest of the show. And she's a really special friend, in particular because she's my daughter. So I have a special lead-in because we banter back and forth, as you may get to see on this show a little bit. It's part of our loving relationship between each other. But my daughter is probably the shining star of my life, and she is just an amazing woman. So we're going to take a quick break before we bring Rachel Cohen on. Used to be Rachel Abramowitz. And we'll be right back at the Looking Forward Show. We are back, and there is my daughter, Rachel. Hi, Rach. How you doing?
Hi.
We're
Good. You finally got me here.
Got-
Are you muted?
There you go. We've been doing this show almost 5 years, and I can't believe that it's taken me this long to introduce you to my audience. But Ja, first, isn't she beautiful?
Yes, she is. She's been declining your calls.
She has been declining my calls. I'm just glad she hasn't banned me from, do not disturb, like put me onto one of those ban lists. So Rachel,
I
it's
did.
okay.
Not to get us off on a side tangent, but I did. I was playing around with my cell phone ring the other day, and I forgot it. I forgot to change it. So the other day, my dad calls me, and it played like the Grim Reaper theme, like the da 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 da.
Very funny, very funny. So,
He wants you on the show or else.
the lead in the lead in today was no. The lead in today was, "Are you serious?" And it had the man from Hell's Kitchen on going, "Are you serious?" Like, "Are you serious?" But yeah, it's been so long since, and I'm glad you took some time to come on today, because this show is really about a look back at 2022, and in particular, sharing some about family, and it's the end of the year, and I thought it would be a great time just to kind of share a little bit about you and your awesomeness and what you do. So can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So I am the infamous daughter of Jeffrey Abramowitz, one and only, Rachel Cohen now. And I don't know what is interesting about myself. I'm I work for a company called City Block Health. We do some really interesting work around healthcare inequality in America and trying to kind of flip the script on, protecting our most vulnerable populations and giving them the care that they really genuinely need and deserve. It's personalized and from people in their neighborhood, and so that's been really great. I do marketing for them, and I live in Philly with a cat and my husband, Ben, and yeah, things are good. I really enjoy eating scones. I don't know.
So the one thing about Rachel that everybody should know is she is like her dad. She's a foodie. Like she goes meal to meal on like what's next, what's next.
Aren't
Yeah, good job.
aren't we all foodies?
I guess
Truly.
I guess a little bit. Some more than
Gotta eat to
others.
live.
You got to eat to live, or live to eat. No, eat to live. I think that's true. So Ray, tell us a little about. So I know that you went to Franklin and Marshall undergrad, and then you worked for some other companies in Philly, which is interesting because some of them are in our community. One was GoPuff. Well, actually, you started with Tribe 12, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
Tribe 12.
what's Tribe 12?
Tribe 12 is a small nonprofit that creates community for 20s and 30s in Philadelphia.
Awesome. And then you went from there to GoPuff, which is
hmm
still in Philly, and then you were at Einstein Hospital after that.
Yeah. Now Jefferson Health.
And now Jefferson Health, and now you're with City Block, which is just a remarkable progression. I think a lot of times people get in one job and they sit there for a long period of time, and you've continued to march up the ladder, which is really kind of cool to watch your progression from that entry position where you're just getting into digital marketing, now leading a team and having people under you, and it's pretty exciting stuff.
Well, I'm glad you feel like it's marching up a ladder because I feel like I've been doing a little bit of a squiggle swerve. But
Not so much. So yeah, it's great to have you on, and you live in Fishtown, which is really cool. You live not far from us, which is a
technically,
blessing.
I live in South Kensington,
So it's
represent the
a
neighborhood.
it's a blessing and a curse living near your dad. The blessing is he gets to take care of your cat once in a while when you go away, and the curse is you're living near your dad, right?
hmm He does like to show up at the house sometimes unannounced,
So very,
frequently.
So the biggest mistake that they'll have come to regret is putting their house key in my possession. Forget it now. There you go.
I forgot.
Surprise!
Well, you lost our first house key, so.
I know. Sorry about that. It was lost in the door though, but we won't go there.
Oh, that one too. No, you lost a key before that.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
You
And
have a key in your house somewhere.
not a good track record, I guess.
Third
Um,
house-
yeah.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, so I'm curious from both of you. I'd like to know, like it's holiday season, everybody's kind of gearing up, and what are some holiday traditions that kind of you look forward to? Anything that sticks out? Ja, you want to lead us off?
food and sports, man.
Food and sports. Like, what's a favorite dish that your mom's serving out?
I know one thing: if the macaroni and cheese with her cheese sauce that she learned from my grandmother is not on the menu, I don't want it. I don't care what the meat is. It could be chicken, fish, whatever. Just make sure that the macaroni is there, because that's the main attraction, in my opinion.
I like-
I'm with you.
I want to
Carbs. Carbs first.
watch my football, watch my basketball. Watch my sport.
I love it. Do you guys have a parent? Do you have so Rach first? What's a food or dish that rings true for you growing up, or even now that you look forward to at the holidays?
I mean, Hanukkah is a lot of like fried foods, which are good.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I much more prefer Christmas, to be honest. So I love the Christmas cookies, especially sweets. Anything that's sweet. Oh, give me just sugar on top of sugar on top of sugar.
I love it. So I saw. The one thing that we got right with Hanukkah was that we put it on for 8 days. So 8 days of presents. So Christmas is a one and done. You get all your presents in one day.
I don't know. I'm gonna now, call out my dad a little because I can. But when I was growing up, he would not give me 8 days of presents. He would give me one present over 8 days. Very different things. So they would get me like a toy that needed batteries or something, and they would take the batteries out of the package, and I would get like, day 1, open up 1 battery. Day 2, open up 2 batteries.
That's a smart.
That's a smart finesse. That's a smart finesse idea. That's how you gain. That's how you gain smarts, but you also gain a child as an enemy.
And then they would get like socks, like the things you need. You need new underwear. Here, put them in a bag. You get more underwear. Great.
There you go. That's just good parenting. The other thing we did do though, because of Hanukkah, we used to do something different every night. Like one night we went and sung Hanukkah songs or Christmas carols at an old age home. Like we tried to give back to the community too, didn't we?
Sure.
Let's go with that. It sounds good on television. No, we did. That was so now some of the traditions that we have are everyone gets together for in our house, and we decorate cookies. Usually Christmas cookies, and Lisa goes to it, and she makes all these different kinds of cookies, and then we all have this decorating competition. And the one that I love, so Rachel is a Gritty fan, and she loves the Flyers Gritty, and she always comes up with her gritty design on the holiday cookies. So I look forward to that every year.
We are all just absolutely terrible at cookie decorating, though. So I will say that. He says it's gritty. It's really just orange food coloring on a cookie.
Hey, compared to all of us, that's pretty close. That's good enough for me. Yeah. So what do holidays? Are there any other traditions, Ja, that you guys have at your family? Do you guys all get together for Christmas dinner?
We do it. This is like start. So sometimes we'll head over to my aunt's house and the whole family will get together. Other times it will just be more intimate, where it will be my side of the family. We all in the house together. They cook, we watch stuff, and then it's like, aside from that, what in the heck am I getting? What am I getting people that basically have it all?
Yeah, that's really hard. Our presents. I always struggle with presents, and just trying to find that special gift. And then when you get it, it's like, yeah, oh, this is nice. You bought it for me last year or something like that. Getting the perfect gift is really. I think there's an art to it, right? I mean, I don't think so. Ray, have you experienced this with Ben yet? Your husband, like, getting him the perfect gift, or there's so many things you can get him that you got to narrow it down.
He is impossible to shop for because he's the kind of person that just buys the things that he wants or needs. And and then if I buy it and I haven't done the research, then it's the wrong thing, or it was, oh, you didn't get it on sale, and you could have gotten it for the 10% off, and then you didn't do the rack, whatever. Like, I can't, yeah. So he is impossible. But you're being modest, Dad. You are a very good gift giver.
Oh,
Other than
thank
the
you.
childhood trauma, Just kidding.
Yeah. No, so we recently had a little battle going back and forth. So Rachel and I went to the Phillies game this year, and at the Phillies game, we had an amazing day. Wasn't that a fun day? We saw the Phillies.
Yeah.
I don't even remember whether
You're
they won or lost.
you're gonna ruin my Hanukkah present for this year.
That's okay. It's
You
on the
had
air.
like
It's on the air right now, so I'm good. So for the day, one of the giveaways for the day was a Phillies ring, and it was a Phillies championship ring that they gave away, and it's really heavy. It's made of kind of like metal, tin. I don't know what it
real
is.
gold. It was real gold.
It was real gold, and they gave them to all.
They give them to everybody.
It's like the
So
bobblehead.
they gave out these rings. Rachel and a bobblehead. They give a bobblehead too.
No, but it's like when you go, like,
Yeah, it's a
you get
giveaway
little
for the
gifts
game.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Get them in the bobblehead.
Exactly. So Rachel and I have had this thing of giving the ring back and forth to each other in strange ways. Like we had leftovers once we went out to dinner with them, and I put the ring inside of the leftovers and I had her take the leftovers home that night, and she ended up getting lunch
It's a
the
true
next
story. I
day.
couldn't eat the leftovers then. It was gross.
But she got the ring back. So
It
so
makes
now
you-
so this is us.
Oh my god.
We did it with a
So the good
tube for
defense.
years.
Oh, we did, but the
That's
good
horrible.
defense is actually stopping it from coming for the holiday season this year. So now everybody knows that ring's coming back to me. I just am curious as how it's getting there.
It's already in process. Don't worry.
I know it. So, Ja, is there a present that you've ever gotten that stuck out in your mind as like this is like the ultimate gift?
Whew, oh my goodness. So for as long as I can remember, I was one of those children growing up where it was like I wanted neither what was the hottest thing on the market for children at the time or whatever piqued my interest at that moment. But in terms of like the gift that I got, it probably was not even a Christmas gift. It was probably an anniversary present from my most recent girlfriend. Like she made me something. And then she made me cookies and I was like, that actually got me emotional because I'm a big sucker for when it comes to actual handmade things because the type of person I am is like if I want it, I will most likely buy it myself. Like my mother had like I'm gonna give you a short little story. My mother over the summer, I told her I wanted a bunch of like jerseys from like certain movies from Billy Madison, the jersey that Adam Sandler wore in that movie. I wanted like the actual jerseys from the movies and I told her, I was like, I'm going to get all of these from this film and that film. And she looked at me. She's like, 2 weeks later, I had an Amazon package with 9 to 10 jerseys in a box.
Wow.
She told me within a week later, she was like, I was going to get you at least 5 of them for your birthday that was coming up. I was like, if I tell you this, if I say I'm going to get it, don't buy it. I'm going to. So I always tell myself like this. If I was like rich or if I'm like famous, I would tell all of my famous friends, don't get me anything because I've seen so many celebrities. They get the same watches and you give celebrities bags of money for their birthdays and holidays. Like that's not a gift.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would take money.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I would take it, but I was like, you gave up on the thought because either I own everything or you're just going to buy me the same thing that 5 people bought me the previous year.
It's the thought that counts, I guess.
But so it's like, for me, I'm more of a handmade guy. I like handmade presents. Like where you take the time out to actually put it together. I like that.
So I like that too. I like to give presents that somebody can spend like 6 hours trying to put together, and then it's kind of
The
pain.
only gifts IKEA
Kind
furniture.
of right. And then you know what you do? You like pull the directions and you keep the directions aside. You keep them out, or you take the little letters off of all the
Yeah,
pieces so they can't figure it out. It's like a big puzzle. That's the holiday spirit, right? So,
Also,
Joe,
that's the beauty of it.
I did learn at some point though that uh, the thought that counts. It's not just the thought that counts. Well, once my husband did come home and he goes, "Well, I tried to buy you flowers,"
You
and I
try.
was like, "You get some credit for trying, but like you
That's
don't
not.
get all. It's not just the thought that counts.
no, it's a lot.
You need some execution too."
Pretty sure Target was flowers.
I know.
They do.
But
Seriously. No, so there are yeah, it's more than the thought. No matter what anyone says, it really, don't this season. For those of you out there in the audience, really give it some thought. Don't just run into a dollar store and get something from the dollar store. Really think about the person and be creative. Try to do something different. Like get them something that they might really want. More importantly, that they actually might use. Right? And it does mean a lot when you've given some thought behind it and just didn't, run into a store and pick something up, whether it's a scarf or a hat. But if you give some meaning to it, that's really, and it is, I think it's more than just the thought that counts. Because if it was just the thought that counts, then I'd be really appreciated for a lot of people. I think of a lot of people all the time. Um, ju- yeah, there are decorations at your house, Shaw?
We're very
Oh.
so in inspiration. So like my sisters, oh, they are the little Martha Stewarts of my life. They it's like they as they get older, I feel like the older they get, the more spirited they get. So like this time around, especially with both of their birthdays falling, like the youngest child, my youngest sister, her birthday falls before Thanksgiving. And then my other sister, her birthday falls 2-3 weeks before Christmas. So around this whole month, 2 month span, they are fully invested in the spirit of the holidays because it's their birthdays, and then they got Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and they got a bunch of breaks. So it's like they do all the decoration. They put stuff on I walk downstairs and I'll see like all the like paper mache artwork or the construction paper and the scissors and the glue. So they're the decoration. They're the decorators now.
I
It
love it.
used to be me and my mother, but now it's them.
Wow, Ray. So, do you decorate anything in your house? I saw some lights outside your house, didn't they?
yeah, I have finally gotten to decorate. So I mentioned this earlier, but like I love Christmas. I love the holiday time. I think who cares what religion you celebrate? Like I think it's warm. I think it's great. I love it. I love the community aspect. And so, yeah, we decorated the front of our house the past few years. And like our neighbors all have lights too. So we match all of our lights up. It's very fun. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Love the neighbors. Um, and then inside, actually, this is the first year Target has had like actual Hanukkah decorations. I've never seen that before in my life. And they have nice, cute Hanukkah things. So I bought like, it's like all in the little front dollar section. They had all these like little lanyards and stuff. So I was so excited. I don't even have a tree to put them on. I'm just like happy to have them in the house. I
That's
don't know.
that's so fun. That's
It's
so
really
fun.
fun.
So, I just thinking back shot of something you just said. You mentioned Martha Stewart, and that's probably as close as criminal justice we're going to get onto this show today. So, but you got Martha Stewart in there, so I appreciate that. There you go. Yeah, the holidays are a great time. It's a really good time, but I'm super mindful too of the time of people that have challenges this time of year. In particular, people that are homeless, people that are incarcerated, people that have challenges where they may not be celebrating because they can't afford to, and really appreciate. So if you're out there, those small acts of kindness, whether it's just buying coffee for somebody from Wawa or just little things of looking forward, I actually spent some time. I have some older jackets that I have that I like to give away this time of year because it gets really cold out and people sometimes are struggling and they don't want to necessarily go into a shelter. So I try to be really intentional about saving some of those clothes as winter clothes that I could give out for the holidays and help people that are outside. But take some time and take something that and do something nice. Just an unsolicited act of kindness can go really a long way for people. It's good stuff. So we're gonna take a really quick break, and we're gonna come right back. But when we come back, we're gonna be talking about your favorite things to do this time of year, and some things that maybe you're hoping for in 2023 going into next year. So you're listening to Looking Forward Show, and we will be right back. We 106.5 FM and Philly Cam TV. We're live streaming at Xfinity, Vios, Roku, Apple TV, and your favorite Looking Forward YouTube station. And we're here with my daughter, Rachel Cohen, and also Jacques King. How are you guys? So Ray, thanks so much. I appreciate you being on and sharing with us and celebrating kind of the end of the year. If you look back on 2022, ask both of you the same question. Like, what's the highlight for you? Like, if we were to see that ESPN highlight reel of maybe 2 or 3 things that they're going to show for your 2022, what would it show? What's going to be on that highlight reel? Either one of you can kick it off.
Wow, you look very deep in thought. You want to go first?
Okay, I'll go like this. Beginning of 2022, I didn't know where I was headed, what direction I was in. And then when I started working for Mural Arts, that's when life really was changing. I stopped like worrying about everything and stuff started coming to me. And in that time, I've met multiple people, a lot of executives, a lot of nominees for positions that have to do with the government, and it's been a very surreal moment. And I think one of the highlights was meeting the family of Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
That interesting experience to meet his wife, his sister, and his remaining children when they came here for a basketball court dedication that we did in him and his daughter's honor. I've met Ashley Biden more times than I can count, and I just remember the first time I met her at the Reform Job Fair in the Wells Fargo Center. It was like, 1, she looks like her father, and 2, she's just like her father, but in a more like calmer way. Like, like, I'm Ashley, nice to meet you. And I would like to say the end off this whole highlight will be this, because for the past 2 years, I always wanted to say I wanted to be a part of a podcast. I wanted to do radio. I wanted to do something that involved me having a mic in my hand and giving my advice and information to the world. And here we are. I'm on my 3rd episode so far. And what better way than having someone like Jeff at the forefront giving me the pointers and tips that I need in order to excel and be better.
Well,
So,
thank you.
highlight.
Thank you for that. So I'm just curious. So, Mr. Biden's daughter looking like her, or President Biden's daughter looking like her, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I was like, I always say this. I always say this like in the best way possible. It's like, she looks just like him, but she doesn't at the same time. It's like she has the features, but there are features that takes away from him. So it's like you can see who her father is once she tells you that's her dad. It's like, I would have never known. And then like, did you look at it? It's like, if you wouldn't have said it, I wouldn't have guessed it, but now I can't unsee it. It's like one of those.
Yeah. So spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. We're trying to get her on the show next year. So
She is the special guest I've been teasing for.
there you go. So Ray, tell us, tell us, what do you got?
I don't know. I feel like I've been trying this year. Like I've done some great things, right? Like I've been able to go travel a little bit more. I've been, I don't know, just like really like my job. Things have been good, but I feel like what I've been trying to do is like appreciate the little things. Because I think just in today's world, like I don't know, I feel like we all just it's so easy to get overwhelmed with everything that's going on and all of the bad things. And like I am so lucky. I will not use an expletive because I said I would not, but I'm so bleeping lucky with the life that I was given and everything, that has come to me. But there's also so much bad in the world, and it's really hard to not get tied down in that, I think, sometimes. So I've been trying to just really appreciate the little things. Like there's a coffee shop near my house, and like I usually don't pay for coffee, but on the weekends when it's cold out, I've been going and getting a cup of coffee, and there's like something really nice about just like a sip of warm coffee that you didn't make yourself, and just like those little things like that. I think that's when I think back in this year. That's what I hope. I don't know. That's kind of what I look at it. Remember is like, oh, like I had that really good bagel, or oh, I had that really, good mac and cheese.
Yeah, I knew you were going to throw food in there.
Your mom's recipe for that.
Yeah, I knew you were going to throw food in there somewhere. So interesting on the reality for me is there's both big and small that happened this year that stick out for me. One of the things was, well, a bunch of things. Well, you got married
Was that
last
this
year. It was last year. But I'm just starting to recognize that I have a
Yeah,
son-in-law.
that was in November. Whatever.
Yeah, it was
We're not good at
November last year.
anniversaries.
Yeah,
Right.
but
That happened.
that happened.
You
But
said
it was.
son-in-law?
Yeah, I realize I have a son-in-law who's a great guy, and I really appreciate him. But there are little things and big things that stick out for me this year. Obviously, the big thing was I started a new career and became a CEO of the PD Green program, and really excited about that, and kind of really just super motivated. Just an amazing organization, which I've talked about on the last show. But little things I think that have happened to me which really stick out. So I started something in 2022, which I spoke about on the air early on, and it happened last January, one of our early shows where I was in Wawa, and I saw some young people that were scrambling, and they were getting all these different things in Wawa for lunch. Appeared to be lunch. And I started a tradition that I've had and kept it going, where I pay for whoever's behind me at Wawa. And the people at Wawa know me now, and they know that I like to be out of the store before they ring it up. So they're able to kind of keep the chain going. And it's been remarkable to watch people, like, as you pay for people just unsolicited, whether it's a cup of coffee, or it started with a bunch of students that were trying to get lunch, and they were scrambling for money, and I said, oh, I got you guys. It was like 5 or 6 young people that were going to school that day that were getting lunch. And I tell the story because recently we had Keith Baldwin on, and he had heard that I was doing this, and he actually started the practice of doing it himself. And I was like, wow, like you don't do things like that because, you want to call attention to or get a thank you. You do it because you're hoping somebody will pick up the story and start doing it. And I was so grateful that Keith started doing it. And other people have told me that they started the practice. And what a great way of just doing something small, those little things, Ray, that can have a big impact on somebody. And yeah, and then the other big thing that happened for me, and I guess is I went out of the country for the first time since I've been home, and that was a big deal, getting my
And they
passport.
let you back in.
Well, it wasn't without a challenge, but they let me back in. I just said, "Hey, I got to do a radio show and television show," and they let me back in. But it was a great experience going to Ireland and being out of the country and seeing other people. But the highlight of that trip for me, quite honestly, was going to a prison in Ireland, and we went and saw one of the oldest prisons in Ireland, and got to learn more about the history. So just a crazy year. I want to thank our guests today, Rachel Cohen, Rachel Cohen Abramowitz, or Abramowitz Cohen. But Rachel, thank you so much for being on. You're a sweetheart. You're the love of my life. Wish you and your husband a happy and healthy New Year. Looking forward to celebrating, and in particular to your gritty cookies that you're going to be doing for us this year.
Wait, no, I can't hear you. Repeat that again. You kind of cut out.
There you go. Want to thank you for our third show together, and looking forward to a great 2023 this year. So thank you both for everything. And you've been listening to the Looking Forward show, and we'll see you in 2023. Take care, everybody.
All right.
You've been watching or listening to the Looking Forward Show with Jeffrey Abramowitz. You can listen to us on Philly Cam Radio at WPPM LP Philadelphia 106.5 FM or Philly Cam TV. We're live streamed at Xfinity 66 and 966, Fios TV 29 and 30, Roku, Apple TV, Facebook, or check us out on our YouTube, The Looking Forward Show channel. If you need to reach The Looking Forward Show, you can reach us at lookingforwardshow@gmail.com.